What's up, dumb dude?
What's up, Dum Dum? I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Looking at your mic, we're using your mic,
Yeah.
and there's like crumbs and stuff on the
Mm.
front fibers of it. Is that like what do you
I was
what are you doing to your
I was
mic?
having
Dude?
I was having a snack while we were talking earlier while we were on another podcast.
You got snacky crumbs on
Got
it?
snacky crumbs on the
Hmm.
on the microphone.
You're kind of gross, dude.
I really didn't. I don't know. Maybe it's
It actually looks like you sneezed on it.
boogies.
It looks like boogies.
You think so?
Yeah.
Hmm.
This is interesting. This is our well, we did a Dumb Dudes. One of the first ones, we were out on that hike, Garden of the Gods, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. We got to do that together. But this is this is a new thing.
Yeah, we're in the same office space. Got a new office that we're trying out. We're gonna be in the same room trying to do a podcast, and this is good. You kind of stink. Did you drink a lot of coffee this morning?
Not a lot. No. I actually came to your side of the desk. It's a pretty small room. I'd say it's probably 10 by 10. But you did a lot of tooting over here.
I had some toots earlier. I had some protein shakes already this morning.
Yeah. I don't think that's what we want to talk about.
No, boogers and toots. We're not talking about that today.
That's next week's episode. So stand by. Make sure you join us for next week's episode.
What are we talking about today?
We're talking about strong convictions loosely held. And I'll tell you, it's interesting. And you can kind of kick it off because you found this podcast, this quote. But when you first said it, I had before I allowed myself any time to critically think through it. My initial reaction to strong convictions loosely held was negative. It was, and what's funny is the first word that came to my mind, which I didn't blurt out, but was, that's weak. If they're strong convictions, how can you loosely hold them? So I thought it was interesting because as we talked about it, my thoughts and perception of strong convictions loosely held vastly changed, which was very appropriate to the conversation that we had. So
it is appropriate. Yeah, I was actually listening to the Drive podcast with Peter Attia. It's more of a it's very science-based, lots of kind of discussions on human performance and eating, sleeping, drinking, a lot of science stuff. And he was talking about this concept kind of in the science world of his thoughts and ideas towards certain things on sleep regimens and diet and habits and stuff like that. You have these beliefs, these values, and you have a conviction towards that. You have a strong conviction on believing a certain thing. And he was kind of basing it on his scientific beliefs, but they can also be loosely held because things change, like environments change, new data comes into play, new experiments, new things come to light. And if you're so strongly held to this one belief, but there might be something new based on data or science or whatever, you could potentially change your opinion on that. And then he referred to just this idea of his buddy kind of referred to it as well in the idea of investing. Just in real estate, like markets change, interest rates change, data changes, houses change, environments change. And so like if you're not constantly getting educated and updating yourself on all of these different tactics and data and strategies that impact your investments, you're not going to be a really good investor. And so this idea of having this strong conviction, but then always being able to change that based on the input that's coming in, I think is super powerful.
Yeah, there's a couple thoughts. So one, it's interesting too when you look at investments, and I think coronavirus is a great example that I also think things going on in Ukraine right now is also a great example. Is when you look at coronavirus when it first started, I can't tell you how many people, how many experts were, and I'm not faulting them, but they were sure positive that we're going to go into housing recession. That it was going to be terrible and people are going to lose their jobs and all this stuff, and it would kill investments. And the exact opposite happened from a real estate investment perspective. I'm not talking about jobs. I'm not saying that everything was, unicorns and rainbows per se, but when it comes to specifically real estate investing, it wasn't what was anticipated or thought, right? And if you may have a strong conviction of investing in real estate, and you may even have a strong conviction of, say for us, we believe that buying houses for appreciation is speculation. But you also, if you don't hold those loosely and adjust to the market, then you potentially miss out on phenomenal deals. And if you're unable to flex to those, or if you're unable to be agile, then you're going to find yourself, you're going to be left behind, period. And, you look at, what's interesting to me is being very open-minded in a way about Ukraine. So I've been reading the other side's perspective as well. Right. And it seems very obvious that Putin's in the wrong. It's black and white. You're on one side or the other, West versus, Russia, like whatever your opinion is. But it's interesting. It's always been interesting to me to see the counterpoint. And so it's interesting for me to read accounts from the Russian perspective, and whether you believe it's right or wrong, which I personally am strongly convicted that their side is absolutely wrong. It's very interesting. And it even changes some of those convictions when you look at the human element of, there are a lot of Russian military members dying, right? And how their families are impacted by that. That's a reality. And as military members ourselves, you can at least try to empathize with the loss of life on both sides, regardless of your strong conviction of right or wrong. And so I think it just enables you to open your mind a little bit. And where this quote came in, I started thinking about it, and you brought up, politics, and politicians who change their mind are just completely lambasted. But then you think about it and you're like, okay, if you're completely unwilling to change your opinion on facts, then that's pretty ignorant. That's a sad place to be.
Yeah.
And so, and that shouldn't be the standard by which we measure how we formulate our opinions. I think one of the best quotes someone ever gave me was, hey man, you have a strong opinion, and it will be strong opinion until you get data that changes it and you have a better opinion. But if you're unwilling to ever hear that data or change your opinion, then you're going to be left behind a lot of times, and you're going to be discounted. It's not weakness to allow your maturity and your growth to change the way you think about things, even those things that could be significantly impactful and a strong conviction of faith, thought, family, ideas, business, whatever it may be, even politics, heaven forbid that you change your opinion based on facts.
Yeah.
Like you're actually, in my mind, it's easier to discount you and mark you up as an ignorant person if you're unable to grow, or even evolve your thought process or your opinions and critically think.
Yeah, critical thinking. I mean, it's a huge piece of growth. So, I mean, this could be equated to anything, like you just talked about: religion, politics, life, parenting, marriage. So just something to think about, if maybe you have a really strong opinion on whatever it is, but just in the back of your mind, like, understand that, hey, loosely hold that, because things change, new data comes in, new experiments come in, and be okay with potentially changing your thoughts and ideas towards that.
Yep. And I think the quickest way to become irrelevant is to not grow, is to not evolve, is to not allow yourself to potentially change the way you think about things. You'll very quickly become irrelevant.
All right. Don't be dumb.
But if you're dumb, dude, have a deep thought, or someone you're dumb with that's doing deep things, because you're still dumb.
You are dumb.
No, you're dumb. You're like a dumb.
What is it? What? Yeah. Okay.
Did it.
Have an amazing day. See you.